Welcome back to Michael's Miniatures, the place for all things mini wargaming. And today, in our episode of Warhammer Wednesday, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Grey Knights that we did the unboxing for last week. Now, Grey Knights are a fun and fascinating chapter of Space Marines. They're a little bit better than Space Marines, but not quite as good or better than the Emperor's Own Bodyguards. These guys really, their whole purpose is to hunt down demon, kin, and uh, collect and protect humanity from the dangers of the warp. It's all in all, they are just a really cool faction. When I was first getting into Warhammer a long time ago, I'd say at least it's been over 10 years now when I started looking into this hobby. This was the army I originally wanted to get in with, but the folks who were helping me get into the hobby did not recommend that I get started because this is a very complicated army to play. It's not exactly beginner friendly, even though it's an elite army with teleportations and things like that to get from one place another to a board. And you got to keep track of everything of the psychic phase and everything. It was at the time supposedly a very complicated army. Now that I am further along in the hobby, I think they just didn't want me to have this army because of how powerful it was, and they wanted me to just play regular Space Marines. But that's neither here nor there. I now, as you saw in the last video, finally have my own set of Marines, and I'm gonna get started that army one box at a time. But like I said in last week's video, one of the big hangups with this army is their scaling size. And as you saw with that video, these poor guys, being such an old model range and with no update in sight from Games Workshop, are just kind of squatty. But in this video here, I'm hoping to show you that you can still make them look really good despite all that. So, like I have with this picture here, you see I've been putting together the Terminators, or the Paladins in this case. Got them all squared away, and I was contemplating what I can do to help them. I thought maybe if I added some pieces in with their torso that make them taller, but no, that didn't look really, it made them look wonky, so I scrapped that idea. Um, and just looking carefully, I realized I, over the years, have a lot of sprues. And I have no idea where I saw this from, but I had this brilliant idea from a YouTuber that I saw a long while ago that said that you could use sprues to create a cobblestone street effect. And I didn't want them fighting in a street, but I'm like, I wonder if I can use this to make the bases better and more thematic. And that's what I did. I cut up a bunch of sprues, like you see here, into little tiny brick like pieces. And with the combination of some hobby sand that I got from Hobby Lobby and a whole lot of glue, I just basically did one flat layer as evenly as I could of the sprues to make it kind of look like a cobblestone street in a way. And then uh, painted on a bunch of glue and stuck them in this bag of sand to then create these monstrosity of bases right here. It when I primed the bases, it didn't look half bad. It actually looked more like it was a maybe the planet had like bombs go off and their cities buildings or something have fallen down, and now we've got the layer of rubble and dirt and rock and everything all over it. Just it looked a lot better once it was primed. And then once it was primed and the glue was still kind of wet with the sand, I set the Marines on there to kind of mark where their feet placements would be, and as it dried I then glued them onto the bases, and we get the effect like this. So as you can see here, this is the Grey Knight Ancient, Paladin Ancient, and one of my Black Templar Ancients. I've had this Black Templar since the start of my hobby journey. He's from the original Indominus Crusade box, and I honestly just love the model, and I love the Black Templars. They were, even though I wanted to start with Grey Knights, the Black Templars was the Space Marine army I decided to go with at the start of this, and I still love the Black Templars to this day. But as you can see, with the Primaris and with the how I did up the base here, it they look pretty comparable in size. It's not too ridiculous. You can kind of see that, yes, the Grey Knight is smaller, but upon first glance, if you're looking at the tabletop, you'd think, oh, they're the same size as a Primaris. Who'd have thunk? Even though this is supposed to be a Terminator, which is supposed to be a bigger, thicker plate, larger knight than the standard Imperial Space Marine. Here's a more modern marshal that I've collected with the leader of the squad. Just kind of show you how, yeah, these guys, they can pass as almost regular Marines with these bases here. And then finally, we have our one of the regular units with a regular Primaris Space Marine. But yeah, in this little, as we go through this video here, showing you all of the Marines and the Grey Knights just kind of together. From the tabletop standard, once these guys get all painted up, I don't think it's going to be that too off-putting to have the Grey Knights on there. You could eat this basing technique to kind of raise them up just a little bit. Really works and gets the trick done until maybe in 2030 or 2100 or something like that, when Games Workshop finally decides to give the Grey Knights an upgrade. We'll have Primaris, and then they'll probably upscale it again. I don't know. We'll see what they decide to do. But until then, if as I continue to collect Grey Knights and amongst other Space Marine chapters, I will probably be doing this from now on, just so that they very quickly will look like all the other Marines, and it won't be off-putting. Nothing against the Short Kings here, but we want them to be at least eye level with their enemies here. But that's it for this video. Thank you for joining me on Warhammer Wednesdays. I'm hoping we can continue to do these videos weekly. It may end up that I have to do these bi-weekly, just depending on how work schedule goes and things like that. But thank you guys so much for your commitment and watching these videos and supporting me with likes and shares. I really appreciate it, as we are a very, very small channel. I don't expect us to blow up and be huge, but I do appreciate that we have this small community that's going to that is growing. Until then, take care. Hope you all have a great rest of your week, and talk with you when the new week begins.